Atiku picks his phone and calls President Tinubu and demand that Wike be sacked, Wike will be sacked before they will finish talking on the phone.
This statement when Daniel Bwala makes no dey cause confusion for social media. If I no believe social media, both physically, spiritually, they discuss this matter when Daniel Bwala talk. So he no stop there. He say when Atiku dey form PDP, when they grow PDP, they come. Wike dey Port Harcourt for one motor park, they do agbero work. So na true. I don't know say if you be retired agbero, no be me talking. Na Daniel Bwala talking. So no dey shine eye for me. You understand? Daniel Bwala say when the Atiku form PDP, Wike dey for Port Harcourt, they do agbero work for some motor park. You know, and they say right about now, the 25% for FCT when Supreme Court carpet so say now FCT residents now they carry the matter go court say make they give their own governor, their own 3 senators, and everything when other states they enjoy as a state. Since the doctors now say FCT they now the same thing with other states. You understand me now? Whenever I see where Daniel Bwala the narcotic no good, the letter they explain how Wike take start agbero business for motor park for Port Harcourt when the Atiku for PDP suffocate the poor.
You talked about the fact that a leading member of the PDP is now essentially in bed with the APC on a ministerial level. I mean, I wonder what the mood is inside the PDP today. I understand you're marking 25 years. I mean, you've got one of your leading members, Nyesom Wike, now openly working for the APC government, and I imagine that the ruling by the Presidential Election Tribunal must have recreated that sort of vast sense of loss and effusive despair that the PDP first experienced when INEC announced the winner of the election earlier this year.
No, the judgment of the court has even created more questions than answers. For example, after the judgment, now the natives of the FCT are planning to approach the court. Since the court of law, the election petition court said Abuja is just like every other state, the natives now say, okay, we want to approach the court and get an order of court mandating federal government to let us have our governor and 3 senators without prejudice to other peculiarities that is associated with state. And they are now saying they are even going to seek for an order restraining the FCT minister from parading himself as FCT minister pending the determination of the suit. There are so many other areas that this judgment has created. So now you need virtually on every part of the constitution, you need to go to court to get interpretation, because it seems we're getting into a new legal order in that regard. Now, but the person, if he feels emboldened, for example, by that judgment, one fact I have to make clear is that the party has survived a lot of hurdles and the party will survive him. And very soon, he's going to be expelled from the party because he has violated the provisions of the party's constitution that will warrant his expulsion. It's just that the party is taking its time and taking it gently. Recently, he even got the audacity to say he wants to suspend the presidential candidate of the party. When Atiku Abubakar with the founding fathers sat and they were forming this party, where was he? He was working in National Union Road Transport or something in Port Harcourt under Azubike Meremi. And then you want to now challenge somebody who is like one of the bastions of democracy in the country. The living politicians today in Nigeria that can beat their chest with living credentials are people like Atiku. Then you can talk about President Tinubu, people who work for democracy. This young man came into government in 1998, became a beneficiary. Everything he has, everything he acquired, and everything he is, it is the party. He owes the party gratitude and not this kind of attitude that he is given. To him, Benjamin Franklin is everything. Or to him, he has the power. Now he's FCT minister. He can exercise this power against the party. One fact is clear. Even the president of Nigeria cannot destroy PDP. Not to talk of a civilian who is in FCT minister thinking in his mind that he's going to destroy the party so we can have a one-party state. No, Tinubu does not support that. And let me tell you this. If Atiku picks his phone and calls President Tinubu and demand that Wike be sacked, Wike will be sacked before they will finish talking on the phone. That is the extent to which President Tinubu values and respects Atiku. So what he is doing in the FCT and all this melodramatic and emotional exegesis, he's only dancing before he'll be fired in the FCT. And he will not in any way affect the party. I give that word and you can look at it. Most of the people, you see, there is this thing called blackmail, and he has done that in the past. Where anybody who goes against him, he will call for a world press conference and he will say, I gave him this, I made him this, I gave him this. There are lots of them he chased out of the party. I remember he once boasted that Dave Umahi, when he left, that look at him, am I not the one that got judgment for him? He let him interpret to Nigeria what he meant by I got judgment for him.
Yeah, let me come in there because we're fast running out of time. Let me come in there, and I need to ask you a couple of other things. I mean, just listening to you talk, and as very passionate as always, and you know, this being a kind of internecine tiff within the PDP that's being played out in public, it just gives the impression that the opposition is frankly looking a bit frayed at the edges. But you also talked about the fact that you're clearly going to the Supreme Court. I mean, you're a lawyer, Daniel, and a lawyer of some repute. What is the most important weapon that you would say the PDP have in their armory going to the Supreme Court?
Well, I don't want to preempt what the legal team will do at the Supreme Court. I deliberately refuse to offer my opinion on the judgment of the court to many television stations within the country and outside of the country the day the judgment was delivered. It is deliberate because I want to read the judgment myself in detail and appreciate the reasoning of the court so I can offer my opinion. And I have to say that the judgment of court is binding on all authorities in the Federation. But the bindingness of the judgment of the court does not take away the constitutional right of Nigerians to give their opinion as to whether they agree with the judgment or not. I happen to disagree with the reasoning of their lordships. And I will only tell you one tonight, which is Section 134 sub 2, the requirement of 25% within the FCT. And in every ramification, you can look at that. If you say that FCT is just like any other state, that means just like does not mean it is. That's number one. But let's even push it further to say you meant it is like all the other states. What are the characteristics and the peculiarities of a state within the framework of our constitution? A state has an elective executive officer called the governor. FCT does not have. A state has National Assembly people as required by constitution, 3 senators, and then the House of Rep as determined by the delineation population and all of that. FCT does not have the same proportion, even though FCT is even larger than Bayelsa. And then 3, the Constitution of Nigeria in Section 299 says it is the President and National Assembly that administer the FCT. A state is not administered by the President and National Assembly. We can go on and on and on to suggest to you that FCT constitutionally was designed to have specific and special role so that whoever will become president must have popularity in the seat of power. But the court thought otherwise. But we have judgment of the Supreme Court in the past that made clear as regarding the requirement. So it is good that it will be tested at the Supreme Court, because the court that delivered the judgment right now is not the final court. And so judgment is not a final judgment until it is determined by the final court.
Daniel, I want to thank you very much indeed. It's always a delight listening to you do your analysis of Nigeria as robustly as you usually do.
Daniel Bwala get bad mouth. I told him before, say the only opposition we get for this country now is Daniel Bwala. If Daniel Bwala come for PDP, PDP don't finish. You understand me now? No, they use them deliver more than one be PDP like men till they judge PDP. Even Wike say go threaten dealing more the laws. Daniel Bwala na the no Wike. No forget to Article C the US they drag Tinubu for brokers. Now make a local young guy come and went to the form saying a Tinubu classmate for Chicago University. Because I talk say the one guy went the form saying now my principal na me na in brand. You understand? Me na in brand ambassador. You understand? Me na my responsibility. I know my rules. You understand? me na the lecturer for inner backyard how we fit suffocate the poor to make sure say the poor masses no see us in the break, you understand? We choke them, you understand? Meanwhile, if Daniel Bwala talk say a single phone call from Atiku go sack Wike as FCT minister, no doubt am. Na small negotiation that they go do. So me, I know that Daniel, I know that what you talk. You understand? I agree with you because these men, we don't know where Atiku and Tinubu dey meet.